The galaxy had always seen Earth as an oddity, a backwater world teeming with noisy, fragile creatures that barely understood the universe they inhabited. When humanity first petitioned to join the Galactic Council, it was met with widespread amusement. The council chamber erupted in laughter when Earth's representative, a young diplomat named Elena Voss, described humanity's contributions to the galaxy. "Our resilience, our ingenuity," she said, her voice unwavering despite the derision, "and our adaptability are unmatched. Give us a chance, and we'll prove it." The Coriolis ambassador, a sleek figure with shimmering, translucent skin, chuckled. "Resilience? Ingenious? Your species still burns dead plants to power your machines. What could you possibly offer the Council?" The room erupted again, but Elena stood firm. "We may not look like much now, but underestimating us would be a mistake. We've thrived in adversity for millennia. That's our nature." The Council granted Earth observer status, not out of respect, but as a courtesy to avoid outright rejection. For decades, humanity remained on the fringes, barely acknowledged by the great powers. Trade agreements were meager, alliances superficial. But while the galaxy dismissed Earth, humanity was watching, learning, and waiting. The turning point. It began with a crisis. The Nithak plague, an alien pathogen with a 100% fatality rate, swept through the galaxy, decimating entire civilizations. Even the advanced medical technologies of the Galactic Council were powerless against it. Panic spread as planets went dark, their populations wiped out. Earth, however, had faced pandemics before. Humanity's history was a litany of plagues and the resilience to overcome them. Within weeks of the plague's arrival, Earth scientists, working day and night, developed a vaccine using a combination of genetic engineering and old-world virology techniques. When Earth ships arrived at the Council's Central Medical Station, carrying millions of doses of the vaccine, the same species that had mocked humanity now lined up, desperate for help. Elena Voss, now Earth's ambassador, stood in the same chamber where they had laughed at her decades earlier. "This is what we offer," she said as the vaccine was distributed. "A will to survive and the ability to adapt." The galaxy began to take notice. Humanity's ingenuity had saved billions of lives, but this was only the beginning. The age of innovation. With newfound respect, Earth leveraged its growing influence. Humanity's scientists and engineers began integrating alien technologies with their own, creating advancements that outpaced anything the galaxy had seen. Earth's ships, once considered primitive, became hybrid marvels of design, combining Coriolis' energy drives with the durability of human engineering, Venari stealth systems with Earth's AI precision. The first of these ships, the Endeavour, stunned the galaxy during its unveiling. Its capabilities were unmatched, and when it single-handedly intercepted a pirate fleet threatening Council trade routes, Earth was no longer dismissed. Humanity was now a player, though many still viewed them with skepticism. But humanity's true power lay not in its technology but in its culture. Unlike the stagnant, rigid civilizations of the Council, Earth's diversity and creativity allowed it to adapt to challenges with astonishing speed. While other species clung to tradition, humanity thrived on innovation and change. The Galactic Superpower. Decades later, a new threat emerged, the Zarian Dominion, an empire from beyond the known galaxy. They arrived with ships the size of moons, armed with weapons capable of tearing planets apart. The Galactic Council's fleets were no match for the invaders, their ancient strategies crumbling against the Zarians' relentless advance. Once again, the Council turned to Earth. By now, humanity's influence had grown exponentially. Earth's fleets were the most advanced in the galaxy, its soldiers trained to fight in every environment imaginable. But it wasn't just Earth's technology or military might that set it apart, it was humanity's ability to inspire. As the Zarian pushed deeper into Council space, Earth's leaders proposed a bold plan, a united galactic defense. For the first time in history, fleets from every species in the Council would fight side by side, led by Earth's admirals and strategies. The battle for the galaxy was brutal. Humanity's hybrid ships spearheaded the assault, their adaptability allowing them to counter the Zarians' advanced tactics. Soldiers from dozens of species fought alongside human troops, inspired by their unwavering determination. It was humanity's finest hour. Against all odds, the Zarian were defeated, their empire shattered. A new era. After the war, the galaxy was forever changed. Earth was no longer a fringe player. It was the heart of the Galactic Council. Humanity's resilience, creativity, and ability to unify the galaxy in its darkest hour had elevated it to the status of a superpower. Ambassador Elena Voss, now a revered elder stateswoman, stood once more in the council chamber, addressing a room that now listened with respect. "We were laughed at once," she said, her voice carrying the weight of history. "Dismissed as insignificant. But we showed you what humanity truly is. We are survivors. We are innovators. And when the galaxy needed us most, we stood for more than just ourselves. We stood for everyone." The chamber erupted, not in laughter, but in applause. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, but as leaders, as protectors. And while the galaxy would face many more challenges, one thing was clear. No one would ever laugh at Earth again. The Zarian threat had been defeated, but the scars it left on the galaxy were deep. Planets lay in ruins, their populations scattered. The Galactic Council, shaken by the invasion, found itself at a crossroads. Old systems of governance, alliances built on millennia of unspoken rivalries, and outdated traditions had left them vulnerable. The council chambers, once the center of galactic power, were now filled with whispers of dissent and fear. Earth, however, stood resolute. In the aftermath of the war, humanity had taken on a new role, not just as a leader, but as the glue holding the fractured galaxy together. Where other species hesitated, humanity acted. Reconstruction fleets were dispatched to devastated systems, offering aid and technology. Refugees from every corner of the galaxy were welcomed onto Earth and its colonies, their integration managed with a level of efficiency and empathy that left even the most advanced civilizations in awe. Humanity's ability to unite others became their greatest strength. They forged partnerships between species that had been enemies for centuries, bridging divides with their characteristic determination. Earth didn't just rebuild, it redefined what it meant to be part of the Galactic Council. No longer a stagnant bureaucracy, the Council became a true coalition, its decisions driven by collaboration and innovation. But the work was far from over. Even as the galaxy healed, whispers of a new danger emerged. The Zarian had not been acting alone. Their invasion was not an isolated event but part of a larger design. Deep space probes, sent to the edge of known space, returned with faint signals of activity, evidence of something vast and ancient stirring in the void. Humanity, now at the forefront of galactic defense, led the effort to investigate. Earth scientists and engineers, alongside teams from allied species, began developing new technologies to prepare for the unknown. The lessons learned from the Zarian War were applied on a scale never before imagined. Massive starships capable of housing entire ecosystems were constructed, their purpose not just to defend but to explore and expand. One of these ships, the Vanguard, was the pinnacle of Earth's achievements. A city in space, it carried representatives from every species, its mission to seek out the source of the new signals. Captain Mira Calder, a decorated human officer whose parents had fought in the Zarian War, was chosen to lead the expedition. The Vanguard wasn't just a ship, it was a statement. Humanity, alongside its allies, was no longer content to react to threats. They would seek them out and confront them before they could grow. As the Vanguard ventured into the uncharted void, it became clear that the galaxy was not alone. The signals led to a region of space filled with ancient structures, immense and alien in design. These relics pulsed faintly with energy, their patterns unlike anything the Coalition had ever seen. Some were the size of moons, others larger than planets, and all of them dormant, as if waiting for something or someone. Exploration teams were sent to investigate the structures. Inside, they found evidence of an advanced civilization long gone. Massive databanks stored fragments of their history, revealing a story of a species that had reached the peak of technological mastery only to vanish without a trace. The fragments also hinted at a terrible truth. The Zarian were not the architects of the invasion. They were pawns, manipulated by something far greater. It was in one of the largest structures, a colossal ring station orbiting a dying star, that the expedition found their answer. A central chamber housed a device, a vast sphere of interlocking mechanisms, its surface glowing faintly. When activated, it projected a holographic map of the galaxy, with one region highlighted far beyond the edges of known space. A single message, recorded in an ancient dialect, played in the minds of all who stood before it. "They are coming." The expedition returned with this warning, and the galaxy prepared itself once more. But this time it was different. Where once the Council had been fractured and hesitant, now it stood united under humanity's leadership. Earth's ability to inspire cooperation, its refusal to give in to despair, had forged the galaxy into something stronger than it had ever been. The Coalition began to mobilize. Fleets were assembled, not as independent forces but as a single, unified armada. Research stations worked around the clock, blending technologies from every species to create weapons and defenses beyond anything that had existed before. And while fear hung heavy in the air, so too did hope. Humanity had proven itself time and again, not just through its strength but through its determination to protect and uplift others. As the galaxy braced for what lay beyond, they knew one thing for certain. No matter the threat, they would face it together. For Earth, once laughed at and dismissed, was now the heart of the galaxy. And this time, it wasn't just about survival. It was about ensuring that no threat, no matter how vast, could ever tear them apart again. The preparations stretched on for years, though the weight of the unknown pressed heavily on every decision. The galaxy had been scarred too many times to take the warning lightly. The faint signals from beyond, the ominous message left behind by the ancient structures, and the lingering memories of the Zarian invasion all pointed to one conclusion. Something was coming, and it would make the previous war seem like a mere skirmish. Earth, now the undisputed hub of the Galactic Coalition, continued to lead the charge. Humanity's ability to unify diverse species was no longer seen as a quirk but as a cornerstone of the galaxy's survival. The Coalition fleets swelled in size, their designs incorporating elements from every species' unique technologies. Ships bristling with Drelix crystalline targeting systems, Venari cloaking drives, and Coriolis energy cores now patrolled the borders of known space. Among these new marvels was the Eclipse, a starship designed specifically for deep reconnaissance and rapid response. Sleek and bristling with cutting-edge weaponry, it was the pride of Earth's fleet. Captain Mira Calder, fresh from her successful expedition aboard the Vanguard, was given command of the Eclipse and tasked with leading a new mission, to venture beyond the edges of the galaxy and confront whatever lay in the darkness. The crew of the Eclipse was a testament to the Coalition's progress. Humans worked alongside Venari tacticians, Coriolis engineers, and Strith specialists, their differences now strengths rather than barriers. They were united not just by duty but by the understanding that their survival depended on one another. As the Eclipse slipped into the uncharted void, the sense of unease grew. The signals they had been tracking began to change, growing stronger and more complex. Patterns emerged, like the pulsing rhythm of a heartbeat, but impossibly vast. The stars themselves seemed to dim as they neared their destination, a region of space that seemed unnaturally empty. And then they found it, a structure so massive it defied comprehension, stretching across the void like a skeletal web. It pulsed with an eerie, otherworldly light, its tendrils extending for light years in every direction. Scans revealed faint energy readings within, as though the structure was dormant, waiting to be awakened. The crew debated their next move. Some argued for caution, fearing they might trigger something catastrophic. Others, led by Mira, insisted that understanding the structure was the only way to prepare for what was coming. They decided to approach, deploying drones to probe the outer layers. The drones relayed images of intricate machinery, vast corridors, and chambers filled with towering spires of unknown material. And then, suddenly, the drones went silent. Before anyone could react, the Eclipse was enveloped by a wave of energy that seemed to ripple out from the structure itself. Alarms blared as the ship's systems struggled to compensate, and for a moment it felt as though reality itself was bending around them. When the energy wave subsided, the Eclipse was no longer alone. Smaller structures, ships, or perhaps entities, emerged from the vast web, their forms shifting and pulsating as though alive. They did not attack immediately, but their presence was undeniable. The galaxy had been noticed. Mira ordered a retreat, but as the Eclipse turned to flee, the structures began to move. Their actions were deliberate, almost curious, as though they were studying the ship. The Eclipse activated its cloaking systems, slipping into invisibility as it navigated back toward the safety of Coalition space. But even as they left the strange region behind, Mira knew they had been seen. The darkness had eyes now, and it would not look away. When the Eclipse returned, its crew brought warnings of the unimaginable. The Council, now more unified than ever, began preparing for a war on a scale they had never envisioned. Research stations worked around the clock to analyze the data from the mission, trying to understand the nature of the entities and the vast structure they had found. The Coalition's fleets, already formidable, began to swell further, their designs growing more advanced with each iteration. But it wasn't just technology that the Coalition relied on. It was the spirit of unity that had carried them through every challenge so far. Earth's leaders, once laughed at for their bold claims, were now revered for their vision. Humanity had proven time and again that it could adapt to anything, and now it stood as the galaxy's guiding light in its darkest hour. As the Coalition prepared for the coming storm, one thing became clear. This was not just a battle for survival. It was a test of everything the galaxy had built together, a test of trust, of courage, and of the willingness to face the unknown. And as humanity led the charge, it did so not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of a species that had turned its greatest weaknesses into strengths. The darkness loomed, vast and unknowable, but the Coalition stood ready. They were no longer scattered civilizations, clinging to survival in isolated corners of the galaxy. They were one. And whatever came next, they would face it together. The galaxy braced itself for what was to come. The Coalition's fleets grew larger, their ships more advanced, but even with their newfound unity and technology, an uneasy tension lingered in every command center, every council meeting, every training exercise. The warnings brought back by the eclipse were not just ominous, they were paralyzing in their implications. What humanity and the other species of the coalition faced was not a conventional enemy but something that defied their understanding of war, of existence itself. The ancient structure discovered by the eclipse had awoken, and with it, the entities that now moved within the void. At first, the galaxy experienced only distant tremors, ships disappearing near uncharted space, faint bursts of incomprehensible energy detected by long-range probes. But soon, the tremors became waves. Entire systems on the outskirts of the known galaxy went silent, their planets stripped of life, their suns left cold and dim. The Council convened in near-constant emergency sessions. For the first time in millennia, no species claimed dominance over the others. Earth's leaders stood shoulder to shoulder with the Venari tacticians, Coriolis scientists, and Drilix diplomats. The coalition was not just an alliance anymore. It was a single body, a single will, bound together by the stark reality that they faced extinction if they failed to act. Amid the chaos of preparation, the coalition's greatest minds worked to unravel the mystery of the entities. Earth scientists, who had proven their worth during the Nithak plague and the Zarian invasion, led the effort, collaborating with the other species to develop tools capable of analyzing the strange energy signatures emitted by the entities. What they discovered was both hopeful and terrifying. The entities were not machines, as some had speculated, nor were they organic life forms in the traditional sense. They were something in between, constructs of energy and matter, capable of shifting their form and purpose as needed. They were ancient, older than any recorded history, and their purpose was clear: consumption. They devoured not just physical matter but the very essence of life, reducing entire star systems to hollow voids. Yet within this bleak revelation lay a glimmer of hope. The energy patterns of the entities bore traces of decay, suggesting they were not invincible. They had weaknesses, vulnerabilities, though they were deeply buried beneath layers of complexity. Earth scientists, alongside their Coriolis counterparts, began designing weapons that could disrupt the entities' energy fields, while the Venari developed new strategies to exploit their weaknesses in battle. As the coalition prepared for war, Earth's influence grew even stronger. Humanity's leaders, though unassuming compared to the grandiose rulers of other species, commanded a quiet respect. Their ability to rally others, to find hope in the most desperate of circumstances, became the heart of the coalition's resolve. Training camps on Earth and its colonies were filled with soldiers from dozens of species, their languages, cultures, and tactics blending into a single, unified force. Engineers worked tirelessly, merging alien technologies with human creativity to produce starships, weapons, and defenses unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Despite the preparations, the galaxy's enemies struck first. The entities emerged from the void, their forms shifting and undulating, their energy waves disrupting communication and navigation systems. At first, they targeted the outermost colonies, testing the coalition's response. When the fleets arrived, they encountered horrors that defied understanding. Entire planets encased in energy cocoons, their populations frozen in stasis, their life forces slowly drained away. The first battles were chaotic. The entities moved with an almost alien elegance, their attacks bypassing shields and shredding even the most advanced ships. Coalition fleets suffered heavy losses, their strategies faltering against an enemy that adapted to every countermeasure. But humanity, true to its nature, refused to back down. Every skirmish taught them something new. Every loss revealed another piece of the puzzle. The turning point came during the Battle of Oris Rift, a critical star system where the Coalition's most advanced research station was located. The entities attacked with overwhelming force, their energy pulses threatening to destabilize the entire system. But the Coalition had prepared. Using experimental weapons designed by Earth and Coriolis scientists, the fleet managed to disrupt the entity's coordination, creating an opening for a counterattack. It was in this moment that humanity's ingenuity shone brightest. Captain Mira Calder, now a seasoned leader and symbol of the Coalition's resilience, led the charge aboard the Eclipse. She deployed a weapon codenamed Resonance, a device that generated a wave of harmonic frequencies capable of fracturing the entity's energy cores. The result was devastating. The entities recoiled, their forms collapsing as the weapon disrupted their cohesion. For the first time, the galaxy had struck a blow against the seemingly invincible enemy. The victory at Oris Rift was a turning point, but it was far from the end. The Coalition realized that the entities were not just an invading force, they were a vanguard. Deep within the void, beyond the reach of even the most advanced probes, something larger stirred. The entities were part of a greater intelligence, an ancient will that had been dormant for eons and was now awakening. The Coalition doubled its efforts. Fleets were rebuilt, strategies refined, and weapons enhanced. Humanity's leadership was no longer questioned. Earth had become the de facto center of the galaxy's defense. Its ability to unify, innovate, and adapt had transformed it from a dismissed backwater to the heart of a galactic superpower. As the Coalition braced for the final confrontation, a new mission was launched. A team of scientists, soldiers, and diplomats, led once again by Mira Calder, ventured deep into the void aboard the Eclipse. Their goal was to find the source of the entities, the intelligence that controlled them, and to uncover its purpose. It was a journey into the unknown, a gamble that could either save the galaxy or doom it. As the Eclipse disappeared into the darkness, the galaxy held its breath. The battle for survival was far from over, but for the first time there was hope, not just in humanity's strength, but in the unity it had forged. The Coalition was no longer a collection of fractured civilizations. It was one, bound together by purpose and a shared belief that even in the face of the unimaginable, they could prevail. The entities were coming. The galaxy was ready. And humanity, once dismissed and laughed at, stood at the forefront, not as conquerors, but as protectors of all life. The final chapter had yet to be written, but one thing was certain. Earth's gamble to unite the galaxy had paid off, and no force in the universe could stand against it.